Hello, Paul. Thank you ever so much for joining us today and giving up your time. We really do appreciate it. We do have a few questions related to the announcement that was made yesterday. It's understandably a very serious situation for us living in Peterborough, now going into Tier 4. So the questions that I'm going to ask you today are, what is your message to the deaf community here around Peterborough who are now going to be in Tier 4 for Christmas as of today?
Well, what I want to say is it's been a very tough time for people in Peterborough, both from the deaf community and further afield. We've gone from Tier 2 to Tier 3 to Tier 4 in just 24 hours. And that is so confusing for people in order to try and follow the rules. But this has had to happen because the situation now is very serious. A new strain of coronavirus has been identified, which is 70% more contagious than the previous strain. It's much easier to catch than the previous strain. But thankfully, some good news is that it's no more dangerous than the previous strain. But that in part explains why numbers in Peterborough have shot up considerably over the past few weeks. And that means that families in Peterborough can't have the Christmas that they'd hoped for. It means that my family can't have the Christmas that we've hoped for. And as Peterborough's MP, I just want to say to all those families from the deaf community and beyond who will be struggling this Christmas, who can't have the Christmas that they wanted, that I'm truly sorry. Just three messages I want to put forward. That Peterborough has done well on controlling the virus to date. And it's this new strain that's really given us this new difficulty. We have been below the average for much of this pandemic, but this new strain has meant that we have to go into this difficult time. There are businesses out there that are struggling, and there is support available from Peterborough City Council and government if you need it. And because we can't have the Christmas we wanted, this is going to have a huge impact on people's mental health. And so I just want to make it clear that if you do have mental health challenges, that support is available, and that you can contact Lifeline at any time between 11 a.m. and 11 p.m. By ringing 0808 808 2121. And I do understand that there are accommodation made for those within the deaf community, and I'm sure Andrew is able to ensure that that's communicated effectively.
Thank you, Paul. That was really in-depth description. And my personal response to that is thank you so much for going into depth in such a way. Do we have an idea of when the restrictions will be eased? Do you have any words of encouragement until that time for people who need that hope? They need to look forward to the future. Do you have anything to say to those people?
Well, I'm afraid I can't tell you exactly when any restrictions will end. Respiratory conditions and this new strain of coronavirus are usually much worse at winter. We don't open our windows, for example, as much as we might do. And that's why we always have difficulties with flu season at winter, etc. So I can't tell you when it's all going to be over or when the restrictions are going to be relaxed. What I can tell you is that date will come closer if we all follow the rules, we all remember hands, face and space, and we all do what we can to look after one another and those who are clinically extremely vulnerable. What I will say is that the vaccine has started to be rolled out across Peterborough and Cambridgeshire. Many hundreds of people have now been vaccinated. That will continue, and it will be ramped up when the other two vaccines are approved, hopefully, fingers crossed. And that will be pumped out across the NHS, ramped up. And many thousands of us will be vaccinated, and we can return to normality at some point very quickly. That the end is in sight. There is that light at the end of the tunnel. And together with mass testing, which is again is being rolled out across Peterborough now. So if you are asked to go for a test, please go. Those are the weapons that we will use to defeat the biggest challenge we've faced since World War II. But we've matched it so far together as one city and one country. Peterborough's come together like no other city in this country, looking after those who are vulnerable and those who need support. And that will continue in 2021 and beyond. And I know confidently, once this is over, 2021 and beyond has the potential to be our year in Peterborough, as we get the regeneration, we get the new university, and we get all that new investment and confidence in our city as we move forward.
Thank you so much for that response. It's really, really appreciated at this difficult time. You've mentioned that there will be a review at some point to look at the tier system and to double check that people are in the correct tier for their area. When will that review take place?
Well, reviews are taking place almost weekly, if not certainly fortnightly. And those reviews, will be rolled up. I think the next big review we'll be looking at will be in January. And when and if MPs return in January, there may be an opportunity for them for these changes to be debated. But I can assure you, at least fortnightly, these tiers are being reviewed, and so hopefully, if we continue to do that right thing, we do all obey the rules, and we do respect hands, face, and space, we can come out of this as quickly as possible.
Thank you again. That's really appreciated. Many people living in Peterborough are wondering about the vaccine system. How many people have been vaccinated to date? Are you aware?
Well, I know it's at least in the hundreds that have been vaccinated across Peterborough and Cambridgeshire, if not probably thousands across the whole county. And we're starting, of course, with those who are over 80, those who are in care homes, and those who are on our front line of our NHS. It's worth just pointing out the average age for death from coronavirus, as sad as that may be, is 83. So it is that older population that are most vulnerable. And what is really important is that we do get this vaccine rolled out as quickly as possible, and we do follow the rules, so that those people who are clinically extremely vulnerable are around for next Christmas and the Christmas beyond that and the Christmas beyond that. So, we're able to spend that precious time with them. The vaccine is the light at the end of the tunnel, together with mass testing, and every day it gets that little step closer. As more people are vaccinated and we get closer to the other 2 vaccines being approved, because the vaccine we have at the moment is probably the most difficult to store. It must be stored at -70. And there's limited supply of it as it stands at the moment. But once the other 2 are approved, then they can be stored at normal fridge temperature. It's much easier then to roll out into the community and start vaccinating people. And that's when we'll really ramp up those numbers in January and February.
Wonderful. That's such interesting information that I've now been able to take on board. So thank you. I know, Paul, that it's been an incredibly busy time for you as an MP. How have you found that you've coped with the extra responsibilities that you've had to take on board in this difficult time?
Well, I just enter into this job with the attitude that I'm incredibly privileged to be able to do it. It's the best job I've ever had, and with the best job I ever will have. And I've got it for 4 years, definitely. I hope I have it for 24 years. That depends on the people of Peterborough. My friend Andrew Palmer has known me for a long time, and he's probably known that I've wanted to do this sort of job since I was about 16, and so to be able to do it is just a great privilege. And so I don't consider myself unfortunate or tired or or struggle with the responsibility. I just love it for every day. I get to do it in the city that is my city, where I grew up, and that's really important.
That's such a positive message and such a lovely report for you to give to us. Thank you so much for your valuable time today and everything that you've been able to tell us. And I hope that the community will take that on board. So thank you from all of us.
Thank you.